matindi yung bakbakan nito. Matindi yung bakbakan.
Mukhang mas merong light at the end of the tunnel dun sa resolution ng issue, ano? Mukhang mas may light at the end of the
Kasi
tunnel.
doon I think kasi yung resolution ng issue, parang yang mangyayari kay sa decision nila kay Inday Sara, nabibigyan nila ng clear process. Kasi, di ba yung sabi ng isang judge na this concerns our residual obligation. Ngayon, ano ang status ng residual obligation under Philippine law? Kasi kailangan mong sagutin yun eh. What is this? So this is the
Ako may position na ako dyan eh. May position na ako dyan sa residual obligation na yan eh. Yung sinabi nung isang justice, yung binasa mo kanina, na ang residual jurisdiction, for me hindi yan enforceable, hindi yan legally enforceable. It is a foreign relation which is under the wisdom of the president. Pero for me, since it is under the wisdom of the president, it doesn't mean na meron siyang 100% latitude to interpret the residual jurisdiction. For me, the residual jurisdiction, while it is within the wisdom of the president, it still must be constitutional. And under our constitution, any foreign relation that you are going to do or make or impose upon Filipinos and with extent to other countries, it must be something that will not diminish your national sovereignty.
Matindi siyang matindi siyang bakbakan yung susunod na desisyon. And they have to ito lang kinakatakot ko, no? Ito lang kinakatakot ko. Because the ICC has been so liberal in saying ano yung ibig sabihin ng already under the consideration of the court. Ito ba yung nagpadala ka lang ng email sa ICC under consideration na yon? Ibig sabihin niya, yung residual obligation mo forever. Ibig sabihin, yung residual obligation forever. Kasi yung original, kasi yung complaint nila Trillanes, ang daming pangalan. Girl, nandun nga si Alan Peter Cayetano eh.
Yes.
Andun si Senator Bongo. So, ibig sabihin, you can just tell ICC o isyuhan nyo ng warrant of arrest itong mga to. Kami na mag-aaresto kasi okay naman eh. O di pwede mong ubusin, be. Pwedeng ubusin ni Bongbong Marcos lahat ng Duterte aligned. Kasi you can just tell the ICC ito pa, meron pa kaming kasi cooperation lang pala eh. Yung presidente lang pala magde-decide kung magko-cooperate. So pwede palang gawin ng presidente na si Joey, si Sasa kasi yan, kasama pala to, isyuhan nyo rin ng warrant of arrest. Bakla! Forever!
So anyway, may ano ka pa, Sas? May idadagdag ka pa? Jan, may gustong i-chika?
Okay. So sabi mo, clear. So merong clear daw basihan. Yung isang concurrent opinion, may clear naman daw basihan sa local law on surrender. Okay. Ito yung sinabi ng isang concurrent opinion. Moreover, it is improper to issue a SQAW because of the foreign relations aspect of this case. This court has consistently recognized that matters affecting foreign relations and international cooperation substantially implicate the constitutional prerogatives of the executive branch, particularly the president as the chief architect of our foreign policy. So, ibig sabihin, the SQAW cannot be issued without if you issue the SQAW, the foreign policy powers of the president would be actually affected. Okay. So ngayon, Eto na. Concurrent opinion to ha. The controversy implicates the Philippines' residual obligations under the Rome Statute. The extent and manner to which the Philippines' residual obligations are to be enforced remain to be determined. Okay. Even if an international court has the power to issue a warrant of arrest, it does not necessarily have the power to enforce it. Enforcement jurisdiction pertains to the competence to act within the borders of the state.
Be, sa main decision yan, Be? Sa main decision yan?
Sina?
Sa main decision, yung binabasa mo, sa main decision yan? Or concurring opinion?
Concurrent. Si Salameda. So, ibig sabihin nito, the merits, bakbakan ng merits, itong TRO, like for example, sabi niya dito, while the issuance of the warrant of arrest is an exercise of adjudicatory jurisdiction, the enforcement of the warrant remains dependent upon the power of the state, which has the competence to act within the territory involved. The ICC possesses adjudicatory authority under the Rome Statute, but it lacks independent enforcement machinery and necessarily relies upon the state cooperation for the execution of its processes. Antonio Cassese, the first president of the International Criminal Tribunal of Yugoslavia and the first president of the Special Tribunal for Lebanon, famously stated, an international tribunal like the ICC remains very much like a giant without arms and legs. It needs artificial limbs to walk and work. And these artificial limbs are state authorities. Direct Tiladin, incumbent judge of the International Court of Justice, expounded on this concept, etc. It is utterly reliant on the cooperation of member states. It is for this reason that the Rome Statute, while empowering the ICC to issue warrant of arrest, nevertheless provides that the court may merely request, emphasis on request, the provisional arrest or the arrest and surrender of the persons involved, just as states are expected to respect the ICC's exercise of adjudicatory jurisdiction. The ICC is likewise expected to recognize and respect the sovereignty of states and their exclusive authority to exercise enforcement jurisdiction within their respective territories. The question that then follows is whether the Philippines has the duty to cooperate with the ICC with respect to its investigation on the situation around the Philippines. As discussed by the parties proceeding before the ICC, relates to acts allegedly committed, etc., etc., etc. Indeed, as well. There is likewise a need to determine the application of the rules on extradition proceedings to a surrender to an international tribunal. Senator De La Rosa posits that any foreign judicial cooperation request that results in arrest is functionally equivalent to extradition regardless of nomenclature. Hence, he points out that should any proceeding against him be enforced pursuant to an international criminal police organization, red notice or diffusion, etc., etc., extradition proceedings may apply by analogy and must be observed. This position, however, fails to recognize the distinction among the implementation of the Interpol red notice or diffusion of the enforcement of the eraser. Although these mechanisms similarly lead to the arrest and transfer of person, they nonetheless arise from different sources of authority. Since police force depend on the cooperation of the member state, therefore it is significant to distinguish between the processes of extradition and surrender. Senator De La Rosa repeatedly invokes the rules of extradition proceedings, argued that no arrest transfer. However, the present matter appears to involve surrender to an international tribunal rather than extradition. This distinction is not merely semantic. Extradition traditionally refers to the process by which one states in contrast, surrender under the Rome Statute pertains to the person or person to an international tribunal exercising jurisdiction under its constituent instrument. In denying the prayer for interim equitable relief, the court properly exercised judicial restraint so as not to preempt the resolution of the foregoing substantive issue, which are more appropriately addressed in the principal petition. Senator De La Rosa is not left without remedy. The denial of Senator De La Rosa's prayer for injunctive relief does not preclude him from pursuing other recourses against the appropriate parties and before the proper forum. Senator De La Rosa may invoke supervening events or matters overlooked by the court to seek reconsideration of the present denial of interim relief pursuant to the rules of court. Further, since the denial of the provisional injunctive relief does not terminate the principal petition, Senator De La Rosa may pursue adjudication on the merits of the constitutional and legal question raised in the petition. Remedies before the ICC are also available as a person for whom warrant of issue challenge the jurisdiction of the ICC or the Rome Statute recognize the principle of competence, etc., etc. Meron pa siya, relief through proper legislative or diplomatic channels insofar as the controversy implicates question. So marami siyang relief. Yun sinasabi. To be sure, this is by no means an exhaustive list of remedies. So si Salameda, nagbibigay siya
Ano yung mga suggestion niya? Ano yung iba niyang pwedeng relief? Actually, kasi yun yung po pwedeng, kasi yung TRO dapat parang last resort nga yun eh.
Hindi,
Kumbaga
sa local, sabi niya, ito yung pinaka sa local. Senator De La Rosa may invoke supervening events or matters overlooked by the court to seek reconsideration of the present denial of interim relief.
Yan, siguro yung manhunt declaration, supervening event yun eh.
Kasi kung sinabi ng presidente, wala siyang directive to arrest you.
Bakit may manhunt? Diba?
Bakit may manhunt?
Oo.
So I think ang nun is writ of something, no? Or whatever.
Ewan ko kasi pagka yung writ of habeas corpus, pagka-deprive na yung liberty ng tao. Tapos ang may kasalanan ng deprivation ng liberty niya, yung government official or someone else. Nagtatago nga siya. Wala naman siya sa possession ng kahit sinong government custodian or public-private individual na nag-hold ng liberty niya. So, hindi ko alam kung bakit habeas corpus yung sinasabi ng iba dito sa comment section na I do not know i-ano nyo na lang ako, i-argue nyo na lang. Pagkatapos, kung writ of amparo naman, kasi ang pagkakatanda ko, sa writ of amparo, endangered yung kalayaan mo. Kumbaga, ano yun para yun sa mga desparasitos, yung mga nawawala, at saka may threat na po pwede siyang mawala or mabura sa mapa. Pwede siyang mapatay, pwede siyang ganon. Yun yung, baka nga mas pa nga yun baka mas okay pa yung writ of amparo kaysa yung kaysa sa habeas corpus na gawin niyang remedy.
So, magbabakbakan ito, girls, sa
decision. Oo, it looks like
kasi
teka lang tapusin ko lang yung sa writ of amparo, Sas. Yung sa writ of amparo kasi, kung kunwari ako si Bato, tapos yun ang kukunin ko, ang isa kasi, sa pagkakatanda ko isa sa mga consequences kasi ng writ of amparo, you have to report to the court regularly kung nasaan ka. Kung ang may threat nga ng pagkawala ng liberty mo is yung government mo itself, tas magre-report ka kung nasaan ka, di mahahanap ka nila kung nasaan ka. 'Di ba? So parang feeling ko wala naman talagang remeding iba si Bato diyan, kundi ipatigil yung gobyerno na, uy ako pag-initan dito, di ba? Yung pag-initan dito, wala naman siyang iba talagang kasi yung writ of amparo hindi siya magpoprotektahan ng writ of amparo altogether. Kasi yung information niya would be reported to the government regularly. Yun yung isa sa mga incidents ng writ of amparo ayun. So anyway,
so matindi yung bakbakan nito. Matindi yung bakbakan.
Mukhang mas merong light at the end of the tunnel dun sa resolution ng issue, Mukhang mas may light at the end of the tunnel.
Kasi doon I think kasi yung resolution ng issue, parang yung mangyayari kay sa decision nila kay Inday Sara, nabibigyan nila ng clear process. Kasi, di ba yung sabi ng isang judge na this concerns our residual obligation. Ngayon, ano ang status ng residual obligation under Philippine law? Kasi kailangan mong sagutin yun eh. So this is the
Ako may
merit.
posisyon na ako dyan eh. May posisyon na ako dyan sa residual obligation na yan eh. Yung sinabi nung isang justice, yung binasa mo kanina, na ang residual jurisdiction, for me hindi yan enforceable, hindi yan legally enforceable. It is a foreign relation which is under the wisdom of the president. Pero,
Yun nga yung
for me, since it is under the wisdom of the president, it doesn't mean na meron siyang 100% latitude to interpret the residual jurisdiction. For me, the residual jurisdiction, while it is within the wisdom of the president, it still must be constitutional. And under our constitution, any foreign relation that you are going to do or make or impose upon Filipinos and extend to other countries, it must be something that will not diminish your national sovereignty. Ngayon, pagka kunwari tinanggap mo, ay hindi, ang aking wisdom is makikooperate tayo sa ICC. And in the consequence of that, will you hurt our justice system? If the answer is yes, then it is unconstitutional because it hurts our national sovereignty. Diba?
So yun yung I think that is the bakbakan. Ano yung legal status ng residual obligation under residual obligation to a treaty? Status niya sa Philippine context. Kasi ang kasi niyan is kailangan mong sagot, kailangan mong intindihin. Kasi ang mangyayari niyan, when we sign the treaty, papasok ka rin yan sa international law. When you sign the treaty, what was the Philippine position when it signed the treaty? Ano yung, tapos titignan mo din yung travaux préparatoire. Ano yung inagrihan ng Pilipinas when it signed the kailangan ko mahanap itong travaux préparatoire. Kasi wala kasing sa ng residual obligation eh. So matindi siyang matindi siyang bakbakan yung susunod na desisyon. And they have to ito lang kinakatakot ko because the ICC has been so liberal in saying ano yung ibig sabihin ng already under the consideration of the court. Ito ba yung nagpadala ka lang ng email sa ICC under consideration na yon? Nagsabi ka lang pero wala ka pang binibigyan ng authority to investigate. So ang na nun is kung nagpadala ka lang ng email, so lahat ng nilagay nila doong pangalan. Kasi hindi ba nila release ang lahat ng pangalan na i-consider nila. So pwede pala yung ICC na maglagay lang ng pangalan. Unlimited.
Correct. Kaya nga yan eh. And that is an exercise that diminishes our sovereignty. Kasi basically, you subject your Filipino citizen to endless scrutiny of the ICC kung kailan nila gusto. 'Di ba? Kung sino yung gusto nilang, 'di ba? Inopen up mo yung litigation sa mga kapwa mo Pilipino doon sa mga nangyari. Past na member pa tayo ng ICC 'di ba?
Residual, ibig sabihin niya, yung residual obligation forever. Residual obligation forever. Kasi yung original, kasi yung complaint nila Trillanes, ang daming pangalan. Girl, nandun nga si Alan Peter Cayetano eh.
Yes.
Andun si Senator Bongo. So, ibig sabihin, you can just tell ICC o isyuhan nyo ng warrant of arrest itong mga to. Kami na mag-aaresto kasi okay naman eh.
Mm.
O di pwede mong ubusin, be.
Oo.
Pwedeng ubusin ni Bongbong Marcos lahat ng Duterte aligned. Kasi you can just tell you can just tell the ICC o ito pa, meron pa kaming ano. Kasi cooperation lang pala eh. Yung presidente lang pala magde-decide kung magko-cooperate. So pwede palang gawin ng presidente na si Joey, si Sasa kasi yan, kasama pala to, isyuhan nyo rin ng warrant of arrest. Bakla, forever.
Exactly. In fact, pwede nga rin yun eh na maisip ng ICC na kasi diba ang reason nila na hindi kasi malitigate dito sa Pilipinas, hindi ma-resolve yung issue ng EJK, kaya parang kung ganun pala, putang ina, dali na natin yung problema natin sa insurgency at yung patayan ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa ICC kasi 52 years na yan, hindi ma-solve dito sa Pilipinas.
Unlimited residual obligation. Ang pwede lang makadetermine kung ang residual obligation mo
is president.
Ay president. So ibig sabihin pag nagpalit ka uli ng
depende sa amats niya.
Depende sa amats. So ibig sabihin arbitrary.
Mm-hmm. And again, while the president is the ultimate architect of our foreign policy, that discretion is not 100%. It is not it is not unlimited latitude. It's not unlimited latitude to decide kung ano yung foreign policy na gusto mong i-adapt. Kasi under our state declaration, under our state policy, our foreign relation should be in any foreign policy, foreign relations that we are going to forge, the paramount consideration is our national sovereignty. So ibig sabihin, kapag ka mag-exercise, kung kunwari ang amats ni presidente ay i-carry out ko yung residual jurisdiction na yan against sa lahat ng crime na ginawa niya noong nasa Luneta siya. Ayan. Kunwari, ganun yung amats ko bilang presidente. Yun yung trip ko, ganyan-ganyan. Does that clash with our own judicial processes, especially the rights of SAS, na hindi mo na ibibigyan ng effect yung kanyang mga karapatan vested under Philippine laws because you wanted to carry out that foreign relation policy? Because it cannot be done that way. It cannot be done that way.
So ayun na nga. So excited ako.
Limitation yun ng national sovereignty natin.
So I'm really looking forward how the Supreme Court will actually deal with the legal status of a residual obligation. Mm-hmm. Kasi may mga residual obligation sa mga private contracts. Mm-hmm. Tapos na yung contract and then you have to continue the obligation even though the contract has already finished.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But those has to be clear. That has to be clear. For example, yung residual. Kunwari, nag-disagree na tayo. Tapos na yung kontrata natin pero meron tayong non-compete. 'Di ba? Tapos yung wala na tayong kontrata pero yung non-compete natin, mag-e-effect pa rin 'yun.
Pero nakalagay sa kontrata until when it will be effective.
Oo. Pero you still give out. Pero yun, klaro yung mga...
Hindi. Kaso kasi ito, ang residual obligation na to is you going to surrender and imprison a Filipino person in a foreign court.
Which is something that if you're going to give effect to, meron ba siyang masasagasaan ng mga local laws applicable to that person? Remember, our laws and our rights is the one that gives shapes to are the ones that give shape to our sovereignty. 'Di ba? Yung karapatan mo bilang Pilipino, yung konstitusyon mo na nagbibigay sa iyo ng constitutional rights, these are manifestation of sovereignty, of your own government over your people, over your country, over your territory. So if you're going to give effect to such idea of residual obligation, are you saying na kinakalimutan mo na lahat ng mga karapatan na binless ng Constitution diyan sa Pilipinong 'yan, 'di ba? So, usaping main case na 'to, 'di ba? Yes, JR, usaping main case na. So, ang inaano lang dito ni Sas, yung fearless forecast ni Sas is that the discussion might center doon sa residual obligation ng government ng paano iintindihin yung residual obligation in the context of surrendering a Filipino to a foreign tribunal. Ganon. Kasi it looks like, ibibigay yung it looks like siya it is going to be understood as a foreign policy. So, ibig sabihin, discretion ng presidente, di ba? Ganon. Which is something na actually yan na yung stand ko even before kung nandito si Monoclista, natatandaan mo Mono, 'di ba yan yung yan yung stand ko diyan, yung residual obligation is a foreign relations issue. So therefore, hindi mo siya po pwedeng hindi siya legally enforceable right. Kasi under the wisdom nga siya of the president bilang architect ng foreign policy. But anyway, tingnan natin kung anong mangyayari. Ayun, siguro, ayan, yes, Miss Joey, napaliwanag mo yun in one of your TikTok lives din. So ang tanong, are we pretty much left to our own devices now since subjective pa din pala ang interpretation ng SC ng how to handle manners of liberty and sovereignty? Actually, for me yung desisyon na yun ng Supreme Court, medyo natatakot ako para sa aking mga civil liberties. Kasi malaki ang tsansa na 9-5 lang yung botong makukuha ko. 9-5 lang yung botong makukuha ko and it is not enough to protect my civil liberties. Ayan. And I'm scared for my civil liberties. Ayun. Anyway, Sas, magano na tayo antawag to Sas dyan. Magano na tayo mag last words na tayo kasi alas 8
Well, unang-una, wala natin magagawa. That's already the decision to Supreme Court. So, wala siya TRO. And, pero I'm really, pwede ka pa rin mag-file ng motion for reconsideration. Okay?
Hindi pa naman ubos yung remedies nila
Oo. Sabi naman kasi nung isang concurrent opinion, you can still file, especially if there are supervening events that the court wasn't able to take into consideration. So I believe that kailangan nila mag-file ng motion for reconsideration. And kasi hindi natin nabasa yung submission And perhaps, maybe a tighter argumentation then and evidence.
I do not really want to go there. Pero kasi, habang kanina nagbabasa ka, sinilip ko yung main resolution. So yung sa main resolution, yung sinabi doon, yung fact na nakapunta ka pa sa Senate, yung fact na nakalabas ka. So basically, hindi threatened yung hindi threatened yung rights mo. So parang feeling ko, dapat siguro nagdagdag sila ng mga circumstances that would demonstrate na I am forced to go in hiding because there were physical altercation, there were already public announcements. Yung mga ganun. Baka lang baka.
I really think na ganun. And kasi Kasi this is a moment that you have to be more creative. Kasi this is a uh, something new in our system. Itong ganitong incident.
Mm.
Okay. So, I believe na maybe you could consult foreign jurisdictions
Mm.
on how these things are being handled. Um, and yeah, I really think that there might be some ako talaga ang feeling ko talaga there
Mm.
there might be something lacking in the submission. That's why the decision see, ang pinagkaiba natin kayong mga campaign, kami, we are noticing na may mali siguro sa naging submission,
Mm.
di ba? We are criticizing.
I do not want to go there pero there is a possibility.
There is a
There
possibility.
oh,
So we recognize, we're doing self-criticism na, okay, so mali yung submission. So, may problema sa submission. So, kaya naging ganun yung decision. Wala ka na magagawa. Mali yung submission mo. Anong gusto mong gawin ng court? Mag-isip sila for you, but the court is not instituted in order to think for you. They are examining your arguments and whatever you submit. So, maybe the next submission should be better, more, sabi nga ni Justice Lonin, based on a painful reading of the law.
uh-huh.
So, yung sinabing gano'n ni Justice Lonin, I think people, the lawyers should actually take that as an instructive. Na, look at the law and do a painful reading of the law to make sure that the justices would understand you.
Mm. Kasi
On.
your discussion is going to be confined doon sa submission mo eh.
Yes. Hindi sila mag-iisip for you. Alam mo yon, kasi if they are going to decide, they're going to think to fill in the blanks. If they're going to fill in the blanks of your submission, then the decision is biased. Kasi they are becoming your lawyers. But judges are not lawyers. Judges are not our lawyers. Remember that. The judges are not our lawyers. The judges judges what our lawyers submit to them. Gets nyo? So, kung ganon, na kaya isipin natin mabuti yung mga sinasubmit natin. And kasi kung hindi, mabe-better luck next time kami. Alam mo yun? Kasi ganun sa korte, better luck next time. So again I'm going to tell you guys, huwag kayo magalit sa mga judges kasi the judges will not think for us. Okay? To be fair to mga judges, no, even yung criticism dito ni Joey, don't think about it na it's criticism out of nowhere. Okay? She's criticizing based on the decision. But Joey and I and Yan are also thinking na maybe the decision became this way because of the submission. Kasi we know that the judges will not judge in your favor if your submission is not airtight. Alam mo yun? If it's not airtight, if the submission is not airtight, hindi mo mapapagawa yung judges to favor you. Maraming ganyan kasi the judges will have to
Ay, alam ko na yung sinasabi na yung parang dapat habeas corpus. I think yung unang-unang filing, yung March 11 na filing. Yung March 11 na filing, yung tinutukoy niya na dapat habeas corpus. Kasi yung habeas corpus na file pa, ang unang habeas corpus case na file pa kinabukasan pa, yung kay Kitty. Tapos yung kay Mayor Baste. Sorry. yung kay Kitty, tapos kay Pulong, tapos kay Mayor Baste. Yun. Parang the following day pa yun na-file eh. Yung tinutukoy yata ni Attorney Panelo, narinig ko to yung parang sinabi niya na, yung first na submission, yung unang-una, which is yun din yung petition ni Bato, dapat habeas corpus daw yun.
Yeah. So I think ganun ang gawin natin. I'm looking forward to a better submission ng kampo nila Senator Bato et al. And then I'm looking forward to actually how the Supreme Court will resolve the issue of residual obligation. Ano ba to? Matter lang ba to ng foreign policy? What? Ako talaga, my fearless forecast is whatever would be the decision of merits. Ako talaga ang nakikita ko doon is, pero Joey, no, before I move to that point, remember I told you na feeling ko ang decision nito, hindi ka mag-i-issue ng TRO kasi wala namang warrant of arrest. In a certain way, parang may ganun yung decision kasi sinabi nila, wala namang directive ang presidente to arrest you. And I think that point should be taken up by the lawyers of Bato.
Yes.
The judge, the Supreme Court accepted
They
as
have
policy.
They have to present facts that would demonstrate deprivation of rights of Bato na sobrang klarong-klaro talaga. Para hindi siya
hindi ang sinasabi ko, I think that point, no, that raised by the Supreme Court, kasi sinabi nila, they have taken judicial notice of what BBM said. So ano ibig sabihin ng judicial notice? So my interpretation here is that they took it as the policy, the current policy.
Yun yung gusto, na yun ang ano ng government, na walang arrest.
That is the state policy. That is the foreign policy, not to arrest you. So matindi yung sinabi yun ng Supreme Court.
Actually, baka yun yung hindi kasi na-overcome baka yun yung, baka hindi na-address nung petition. Kasi baka hindi nila tinake into consideration na baka i-judicial notice ng korte yung statement, which is very likely kasi usually naman pagka publicly sinabi ng ginojudicial notice naman talaga yun eh. So
ibig sabihin, pag
yun yung hindi na-address sa petition nila, sa prayer nila.
Hindi kasi kung yun ang judicial notice na there is no order to arrest. Ibig sabihin ng judicial notice is a legal rule that allows a judge to accept a specific fact as true.
Without further without the need of proving it in court.
So ibig sabihin, mga bakla, for the Supreme Court, there is no state policy to arrest. At Joey, makinig ka. Kung ang Facebook pronouncement can be taken as fact and state policy, what more yung sinulat ni BBM kay Inday Sara?
And the Supreme Court may build the argument from there. And that might go to yung discussion nga ng yung sinabi mo kanina, yung residual kineso.
Kasi magkakaroon na ng grave abuse. Kasi kung sinabi mo, kasi yung isang concurrent opinion, it's a matter of foreign policy. Kung sinulat mo ito kay Inday Sara, tapos binago
di ba,
mo,
recorded ang foreign policy. Di ba? Recorded.
Ibig sabihin, arbitrary decision. Kung anong maisip mo lang. So there are some aspects na good, no? Unang-una, ni-recognize as fact ng Supreme Court na BBM that there is no state policy to arrest Bato de la Rosa. So sa lawyers, di ba to? I think you're bright lawyers. You know where to take that statement. So thank you so much and have a good morning, everyone.
Mhm. Thank you very much,
Mm.
ka-moisture. Jan,
Ay,
meron kang
sandali, maraming salamat sa mga nagbigay ng
thank you ka sa sa
ng mga advance happy birthday. Maraming salamat
oo,
sa mga nagbigay ng mga pa-advance happy birthday.
oo. At
Thank
saka
you.
i-send nyo kay Sas, Travel Life, i-send nyo kay Sas directly, sa akin mapupunta to. This is for Sas, please. Happy birthday, stay moist na moist. Ayan. Sige, huwag kayong mag-alala, huwag kayong mag-iintrega ako kay Sas, ayan. Anyway, hi, yan. Maganda ka na mag-close.
Naantok na din. Oo. Parang ang dami kong natutunan. I leave the very technical legal stuff to you guys kasi hindi ako lawyer. Pero ang masasabi ko lang, parang also feeling ko the Supreme Court doesn't exist in a vacuum. So din siya, sensitive din siya to like public perception, ganon. Like yung political pressure, ganyan. So feeling ko, mga decisions din niya, sometimes they also avoid any move that could make them look biased. So parang recently they favored Inday. So ngayon di ko alam, are they trying to their public perception at their like unbiased by being very technical when it comes to Batoy. Parang yun yung iniisip ko. Pero I just feel like if you know that like if you're the Supreme Court and you understand that how important sovereignty is, then the answer should be straightforward. I feel like wala nang dapat napakaraming technical stuff or eme-eme na So if if you're the Supreme Court, you should know the right thing to do. Kasi yung mga technical stuff na maliliit na bagay na yan, I understand na yung law hindi siya perfect. I understand that language is not perfect and language can be ambiguous. But if you're guided by the by the principles of sovereignty, you will know what to do and you will know what your decision should be. So I feel like the Supreme Court is not insulated from politics, and I feel like yun yung ko, and especially when I read those yung mga statements from the justices na some of them have value judgments when it comes to the war on drugs. Parang medyo for me, it's not like very a judiciary thing to do kasi parang for me, the language should be balanced if you're like, especially Supreme Court ka. And you should not make value judgments like that. So, yun lang. And I feel like even if you're considering public pressure, if you're considering yung politics, if you're the Supreme Court, then what should matter first and foremost is, of course, sovereignty, the rights of the citizens. Once you prioritize those, sobrang dali na lang for you dapat to come up with the right decision, and hindi ganito na parang very parang you delve into the technicality. So yun lang yung masasabi ko. But I agree na yun nga, baka yung how yung submissions ni Bato, baka it played a role in the decision. But personally, that's how I feel. I feel like the Supreme Court is not insulated from politics. Yun lang po. Thank you po sa mga nakinig.
Ayan. Thank you yan. Actually ako, yun din yung ko. Sabihin na natin na, sige, pagpalagay na natin na hindi kasing pulido or sabihin na natin baka may issue doon sa submission or whatnot, ganun. If you're going to look at it as an issue of sovereignty, dapat madali siyang i-resolve Dapat madali siyang i-resolve. So parang feeling ko, banatan nyo siya later on doon sa resolution na hindi dapat ganito kasi, hindi dapat ganyan, etc. Or at least, kasi clear naman kasi na merong deprivation ng karapatan dito The mere fact na hindi ka na free, makakapunta ba si Bato sa mall? Na masisigurado ba natin na hindi siya kikidnapin nila Matibag? 'Di ba? Madadala ba niya yung apo niya sa mga park na masisigurado natin na hindi siya hahantingin ni DOJ Vida, 'di ba? Hindi naman. So doon pa lang alam natin na
siguro can you issue a TRO on against manhunt?
Posible. Or,
Oo, kasi if the state policy is that Bato is not going to be arrested, then I think you should have a TRO against a manhunt.
or at least doon sa rule mo na yung TRO na ano ninyo, yung TRO na pinagpe-pray ni kasi specific yung specific yung TRO ni Bato eh. Sige, deny nyo yung TRO na yan. But we would like to emphasize that we would like to emphasize that because there is no policy na arestuhin si Bato, that is what the court understood, and anything in violation of ganito, a violation of this policy will allow Bato to seek keneso-keneso. Mas malinaw, di ba? Kasi mas may direction kung ganon. Kasi kung judicial notice nyo na rin naman na walang kidnapping na mangyayari, paano nga? Ganito, iba nga yung ginagawa ng mga alagad ni Bongbong. Di ba? Iba nga yung ginagawa ng mga alagad niya. So parang parang for me dahil hindi buo yung desisyon at saka masyadong safe na i-touch yung mga touchy issue, especially yung issue ng sovereignty. Parang at the end of the day, because of this decision, natatakot tuloy ako sa mga civil liberties ko. Natatakot tuloy ako sa mga civil liberties ko. Ayan. Kagaya niyan, Diyos ko po, pagka nakasuhan kami or whatever, ganyan, paano na to? 'Di ba? Anyway, yun. Hindi siya comforting. Sabihin na natin, baka sobrang talino, hindi natin gets. Pero as an ordinary citizen, hindi siya comforting. As an ordinary citizen who would probably need an assistance of a lawyer in asserting my rights, I really feel na hindi ako comforted by this decision. So, and that is not the justice system that we would like to build. We would like to build a system that is clear, that is intentional, that is deliberate, and something that I can hold on to when I need to defend myself from the abuses of this government. Ganon. Ayun lamang po. Sabi si Kael, may nagtatanong siya na parang wala naman yung sa writ of amparo. Hindi, naalala ko lang yun kasi merong writ of amparo case before. Parang konti lang yan yung writ of amparo case na yan Parang tatandaan ko nun before, pwedeng i-order ng court na kapag ka na-grant yung writ of amparo mo, isa doon sa mga parang inuutos ng court na nag-grant ng writ of amparo is to check on you on a regular basis. Kasi nga, yung writ of amparo, parang protective writ siya na in a sense na kaya ka nagpapa-writ of amparo kasi meron ngang threat na baka i-disappear ka. Baka tagihin ka ng government, ganyan-ganyan. Yung mga ganong etyo. So parang once in a while, i-check ka talaga ng court na parang, John Reiter, buhay ka pa ba? Hindi ka pa ba pinapatay ng mga kineso, ganon-ganon. Yun yung ano niya. So, kumbaga, pagka nag-grantan ka nun, wala kang choice kundi, kasi syempre, nag-seek ka ng remedy na yun. So, kailangan mo makikooperate sa court. So, kung i-check nila yung sitwasyon mo every now and then, kailangan mo mag-report sa korte. Paano ka nag-report ka sa korte? Inaabangan ka pala ni BBM, di ba? Pag-report mo sa korte, inabangan ka ni BBM, di huli balbon ka noon. Di ba? So, yun lang yung iniisip ko ha. Yun lang yung iniisip ko. Pero anyway, that's open for criticism. Ayan. Anyway, siya. Hindi na ako magkukwentong barangay. Thank you very much sa lahat na nanood. Matulog na tayo kasi 5:30 na. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you po.